Oh.
You're listening to the House Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
I've had people walk out of me before, but not when I was being so charming.
Video streaming at housesparks.com.
I don't care for you or for the putrid sludge you're troweling out.
Damn, faithful, stick.
True progressive talk.
Might be a good time for you guys to give up.
So, now, you know, when you buy real estate, we were talking during the break about durable goods. One of the things they see in the market, oh my gosh, durable goods, which need to be physically carried, and therefore energy prices will affect them over time. That's the trickle down of the fact that oil companies are trying to make up for missed profits, right? And they are bringing those profits, you know, in by compensating for the losses they had when no one was driving last year. Now, what do you think, Johnny Million? The biggest, and you have to understand, listen, we're talking about durable goods. We're talking about the real cost of stuff, and the idea that if you listen to the economic news in terms of inflation on any of the major financial networks, they're going to talk to you about the house prices, man. Housing prices are up. Where do you think they're up the highest in the known universe, in the and the unknown universe, Marty?
Housing prices?
Yeah, the cost of real estate. Where is it the most expensive right now? From considering what it was worth, like the inflation price that jacked up from it was this price and now it's through the roof.
I want to say Texas.
And people in the chat room can tell me too. They're saying big cities. They're saying California. Somebody said Detroit. What do you think?
I say Texas.
No.
Oh.
The most expensive real estate and the biggest inflationary jump is in digital real estate.
The hell is that?
A plot of digital land in the metaverse, the new Facebook-driven meta universe that people will get through via virtual reality and the merging of those things. A piece of prime real estate. Now it was, sold in these, in sort of Bitcoin-y online tokens, which will have a material, transfer rate, sold for the equivalent of $2.5 million a couple weeks ago. 618,000 mana, which is a type of cryptocurrency used in what's called Decentraland. It's online. Now, how much was the cost of that land a year ago, 2 years ago? That's a trick question. It didn't exist. It doesn't exist.
It
does not exist. It's not going to exist anywhere. It still doesn't exist, technically. It's just dibs. It's the equivalent, the closest equivalent is buying advertising space on a website that has a lot of traffic, knowing that certain amounts of traffic will go through certain places. Like Facebook sells ads on their stuff, or like your favorite news website that, on their front page sells ads or pop-ups that are more expensive than the ones deep inside attached to articles. $2.5 million for something that exists only in the digital realm and could be accidentally erased if someone spills coffee on a server is amazing. And if you're going to talk about inflation, I don't know why they don't bring that one up. Why are you not bringing that up? That's a 2.5 million %. It's more than that because it was zero. And yet there will be businesses that will thrive only because they have a stake in the digital world that is effectively like private property that you will have to go through if you go through this tunnel to get to any of these destinations that become very popular in the metaverse. I myself, after my live stream yesterday, started building my own world in Meta, in the
Oh my
Horizons
goodness.
thing, as a gathering spot.
Congratulations.
Thanks. It's a little, it's a little blocky right now. I need some good texture maps eventually. It's a little, it's Christmassy. I will say that, but in kind of dealing with this storyline and talking to some folks about this kind of stuff and the future of our world as digital mixed together with other stuff. I have always tried to be sort of as much ahead of the curve as I possibly can. It's, I dig your well before you're thirsty, as they say. And more of an exploration of what that actually means. And there are, in the Minecraft world, for example, there's been entire sub-industries of people who just do nothing but make Minecraft worlds that cost money to go play in. Right? That's where this came from. Meta did not come up with this. Facebook, Zuckerberg did not come up with this financial idea on their own. It was born out of Minecraft. My kid plays Minecraft. My girlfriend's son played Minecraft back in the day. They've been at it for a very long time. And because of them, I know more than I need to know about modding Minecraft, because you had to do it by code in the old days. You could just download packs.
So kudos.
It's it's basically like a 8-bit style gaming environment where you build out of blocks, but people have used those blocks to make incredibly complex, universes with giant buildings and temples and waterfalls and villages and all this kind of stuff. And you go and you basically hang around there, and you can buy your way in. Some are free, blah, blah, blah. Not overall the point, but that was an industry that did not exist.
Sure.
Was impossible, and requires no external labor or the work of another human being. As long as you want to sit there all day long on your own in front of your computer, tapping away. Roblox is another one. Roblox has become a huge industry on its own. The characters look like Legos a little bit. They look like Lego head people, and you can make your own games within it. It became an area where young programmers start experimenting, creating their own games, and then they became meme games, and then they became copycat games where they'll make a rip-off blocky version of Call of Duty, a rip-off blocky version of almost all the games are tag in some form or another. My son enjoys a game that looks like a bunch of kids being chased by the It clown in a McDonald's.
Oh my.
And the guy who made that paid for his car with it. And it's a nice car. These are in some cases really rich dudes. There is no slave labor in that. There is no lack of paying programmers overseas to kind of pick up your slack for you and then sell it to, at a profit. It's all you. It's on you. Something in a way that unless you own material land 1,500 years ago, you have no grasp at the open frontier that exists financially as far as your well-being. It's just, in a lot of ways, it is unfathomable to a lot of the folks that talk about economics these days. And anybody who's got kids who play Roblox or Minecraft or watch, famous YouTubers who game or even play any of the games and look at how much Call of Duty as a game, for example, costs versus how much money people spend buying outfits for their characters over time, right? Outfits that do not exist.
That's a thing.
Oh yeah, it's beyond a thing. It's in many ways the financial basis of the game. It's how the game makes money. The sales of it is incidental. And we are looking increasingly down the barrel of a huge amount of our entertainment, pastime, and travel experiences being either virtual or augmented. And this is an area where the economy is presented with a new gold mine, a gold mine that only exists between the ears of human beings. Because it's up to you. If you can think it up and make it up, you can do it. You don't have to buy the land in a lot of ways from anybody right now. Even the people who bought this $2.5 million stretch of land, they're going to get outpaced by somebody who creates a digital tunnel that bypasses all of it. That they'll charge you a nickel, but at least you don't have to look at all these ads, right?
Right.
And to a lot of people, that'll be worth it. And it won't be a nickel. It'll be 5 mega coins or whatever. And you'll get them for free from other people, so you'll just use those as pathways, just like all these situations happen. And so you've got a lot of folks who are looking at the U.S. economy, for example, infrastructure. How can we afford to spend we're printing all this money that we're going to spend on infrastructure? The physical stuff you can't bypass. You can't just dream up. You can't just sit in front of a laptop and create this stuff. People have to go out there and physically do it. We do not have an army of robots that will take care of this stuff. We're gonna get used to that idea in about 20 years, that almost all physical labor will be eradicated. Then what? That's the conversation. Idle hands being the devil's workshop, and understand that most of the Karens we've seen have a lot of expendable income. They have a lot of disposable income. You got to have some disposable income just to cover your van in that many stickers and still have money left over for pipe bombs. So there is a fascinating aspect to this. The woman I was mentioning earlier, who's got the ARK investing woman or whatever, and they're kind of dunking on her right now because her long-term investments are in AI, robotics, and that kind of, and VR and AR stuff, which is going to pay off. It's just coming. Get used to the idea. Don't even pretend it's not. Just know it's coming, and rest, just like cell phones and smartphones. Just be aware. Look at it with like some people looked at Kirk's telecommunicator and go, that's just crazy, and you'll be left behind. We now look at all the things in old sci-fi and go, oh yeah, most stuff that we see in sci-fi is going to make it at some point. We're not in a huge hurry, but it's going to get here. Jetpacks are terrible, by the way. Stop it. They burn your feet. It's silly. What you want is anti-grav boots, and that's down the pike a ways. But that ends all friction, and therefore transportation gets a lot cheaper. So anyways, the point I'm trying to make is that you have entire industries that they're projecting somewhere in the next 10, some are even saying by 2024. I think that's a bit of a reach. It might be 2026 or 7. $100 trillion in new wealth and new avenues of making wealth. $100 trillion in these industries in the next 7 years. Much of it seeded, by the way, in the United States and our partners like Japan and South Korea and Germany, England, places that have really the Finnish countries and the Danish countries and where all the Swedes hang out, where it gets cold and they have a lot of time to spend indoors coding because it's freezing outside. All of those areas, you're going to see enormous wealth created in not just in virtual worlds and stuff, but in how AI affects medicine, how AI affects production, all those kind of things. It's going to be a huge leap forward in that, with $100 trillion in revenue generated in the next, they're saying 5 years, I'm saying 7 to 8, but because of the exponential nature of AI, it could happen in an afternoon. That's the crazy part. I have the equation for that. If you ever want to hear it, just ask me. But the important thing though is that money will not all be spent in the digital world. It'll be making people better, more physically fit, therefore able to travel, therefore needing roads and bridges and trains and cars and better fuel sources and better environments for tourism to go see. No one wants to go see something that used to be scenic and now looks awful. And honestly, the Republicans want to tell you that spending $1.7 trillion on infrastructure in the United States of America is going to break the country? Because if a tenth of these predictions are true, a tenth of them, our material economy doubles in 8 years. From $24 trillion a year to somewhere in the order of $45 trillion in the U.S. economy in the next 8 years. We doubled since 2000, and that time will double. You know, it took us 20 years to double. It'll take us 10 years to double again. I went way over the break. We got to take a break. We'll be back right after this short segment next. But don't forget to like and subscribe. Give a thumbs up. I know this is a conversation most people don't hear about this kind of thing, but I always find it masked underneath it. And I was driven towards talking about this by an ad that the Wall Street Journal is selling on the very same Market Watch article that we were talking about before the break. We'll be back.